Go ahead.
Then sware they all together and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it. And they were in all 200 who descended in the days of Jared on the summit of Mount Hermon.
So they all agreed to do this together. 200 of them, and they all went down from the heavens as stars from heaven on to Mount Hermon. Similar to what you see with Paramount Pictures when the stars are going through the clouds, and then it comes around the mountain, and it forms a circle around the mountain, showing you the fathers of Hollywood, those where they get the fallen angel ideas. Hollywood is an ancient Druid or Celtic wood used to cast spells. So those from Hollywood are telling you who their leaders are, who their gods are. It's in their movies. Right? Read.
And they were in all 200 who descended in the days of Jared on the summit of Mount Hermon.
So 200 came down. Go ahead.
And they called it Mount Hermon because they had sworn and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it. And these are the names of their leaders.
I don't want to go into their names. I don't want to deal with that right now. Let's just go into what they taught mankind. The verses of what they taught mankind.
Verse 7. And all the others together with them took unto themselves wives, and each chose for himself one.
This links directly to Genesis, the 6th chapter. Go ahead.
And they began to go in unto them, and to defile themselves with them. And they taught them charms and enchantments.
They taught them charms, enchantments.
And the cutting of roots.
The cutting of roots, that means making root.
And made them acquainted with plants.
Made them acquainted with plants, the different works of the plants. Go ahead.
And they became pregnant, and they bare great giants.
There were Nephilim in those days. There were giants in those days. Read Genesis, the 6th chapter. This is how the Nephilim came to be. Read.
Whose height was 3,000 ells, who consumed all the acquisitions of men.
They started consuming all the acquisitions of men, which means when it comes to the fruits and the food and all the things that our people, that God's creation, the Most High's creation needed, they started eating all those things up and started hoarding them things and making men slaves when the land belonged to the people. But now, men started slaving for these giants. Same thing. They started hoarding all the goods. Sound familiar? Read.
And when men could no longer sustain them.
When men could no longer sustain these giants, read.
The giants turned against them and devoured mankind.
They started eating people. Cannibalism. Oh, you thought Jack and the Beanstalk was a myth. Where do you think they get these stories from? These orgs and all this. And you notice how they're making it passe where your children endear themselves to orcs, like Shrek, like Barney, a fallen, a cross-spliced creature from the fallen angels. Read.
And when men could no longer sustain them, the giants turned against them and devoured mankind.
Let's see what the fallen angels taught people.
Chapter 8, verse 1.
Read.
And Azazel taught men to make swords and knives.
So Azazel taught men to make swords and knives. Ascribed war to Azazel. I don't know if any of you back in the day seen the movie Fallen by Denzel Washington. And let me tell you, they used Denzel Washington for all their fallen angel pictures. They used him in Deja Vu, showing how you can go back in time and all those things, and that machine that they had. It's the same machine they have in France, in different areas in Europe. They were claiming at one time that that machine was so that they can actually mimic the Big Bang. It's a lie. It's a Stargate machine. It's a travel machine. That's what it was the whole time. So all these things were being these things come before the flood, brothers and sisters. You think it's technology now, but these guys were doing all types of things before the flood. Read.
And Azazel taught men to make swords and knives.
Make swords and knives.
And shields and breastplates.
Shields, breastplates.
And made known to the metals of the earth.
Go ahead.
And the art of working them.
And the art of working them. So he showed them about the metals, all those things within the earth, how to dig out the metal, how these metals affect mankind, how to sharpen them, how to do certain things with them. Go ahead.
And bracelets and ornaments.
Bracelets, ornaments.
And the use of anatomy.
And the use of anatomy. Go ahead.
And the beautifying of the eyelids.
And the beautifying of the eyelids. That means shaping up the eyes and having that look and doing certain things that actually makes you an individual outside of everyone else. It's teaching individuality. That's what they were doing. Like the arching of the eyebrows, the paint and all that, the extravagant paint over the eyes and all those things. That was taught by the fallen angels. Read.
And all kinds of costly stones.
And all kinds of costly stones. Showing them how to cut the diamonds, how to make them shine and all those things. Because we know that the fallen one was covered by all these precious jewels. So now they're teaching people to make these jewels and these diamonds precious. To value them. When really, we should be more valued than a piece of rock. Okay? Read.
And they coloring tinctures. And there arose much godlessness. And they committed fornication.
So now it's going into what happened in Genesis the 6th chapter in detail. Go ahead.
And they were led astray and became corrupt in all their ways. Simjaza taught enchantments and the root cuttings.
So one taught the enchantment. Go ahead.
And armoros, the resolving of enchantments.
And the other one taught how to get a root or what you would call a when they put a root on a person or put a curse on a person. Simjaza taught how to put the curse on, and another angel taught how to get the curse off. See, and this is a lot of our people deal with this. You go to these little witch doctors or these little guys and say, listen, I want to do something against a person. They're getting this from Simjaza, the spirit of Simjaza, or demons who taught that, which were the children of Simjaza and the angels. And then you go to another guy that says, I think someone got a curse on me. Can you give me something to take it off? Another one taught how to take the root off the person. And of course, if you're under Christ, none of these things have power. But if you believe in them, and see, we're in the system that teaches you to deal with the laws within this earth. If you believe in them, they have power over you. Read.
Simjaza taught enchantments and root cuttings. Armoros, the resolving of enchantments. Barak Jael taught astrology.
So one taught astrology. Read.
Kakab the constellations. Ezekiel, the knowledge of the clouds. Arakael, the signs of the earth. Shamsael, the signs of the sun. Sarael, the course of the moon. And as men perished, they cried, and their cry went up to heaven.
So through time, because first it was all good. The people had the technology. They were having a good time. They were learning things they didn't know before. It was all good. But then the same powers that gave them this technology began to consume them. Sound familiar, right? Now these free people were now enslaved by the fallen angels and demons and Nephilim. Okay, this is what happens. It's crystal clear right here. And now people are praying to the Most High now, like, can you do something about this? But yet we took their technology, we reverenced them. It's a two-edged sword, so to speak, right? So now the people have learned all types of things, and now there's party, chambering, evil, witchcraft, sorcery. You name it, it's going on. Men have forgot the Most High. That's what we're reading.